Let's speak to disaster relief expert Jeff Charlton, who's with me in the studio. Very good evening to you. It's a huge operation that's underway now from all corners of the globe. How do the disaster experts get to the areas where this relief is most needed and decide where it goes?
Well, I should imagine that they've got people on the ground already trying to identify the triage response that's going to be required. But some of these issues should have been decided some time ago, because these disasters are the same all over the world, whether it's in the Philippines, in America, or indeed in England. So we know that the power is going to go. There should be engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers to restore diesel generators and maybe restore trucks that can help with the logistics and distribution of supplies that are absolutely essential. So it's about multipliers now. You know, the people need to put in multiplying factors where they put in one, let's say, a mechanic or an electrician that can resolve issues with a hospital's failed generator. One engineer could teach maybe 20 Filipino people on the skills of restoration.
We've got so many disaster or relief agencies coming in to try and help, obviously. How do we make sure that the efforts aren't replicated and that aid gets to those who need it the most?
Well, that's an interesting question. You know, I'm quite astonished that so many aid agencies are now vying for budgets to justify what they want to do. To me, this should have been already decided months or years ago, where that budget and the resources should have been on the way, or even at the scene now, instead of people talking about give us some budget so that we can send some stuff out there.
What do you think's gone wrong then in the chain of command, perhaps, or in the decision-making process that hasn't made that happen?
Well, I really don't know. I'm not in that chain of command. That's above my pay grade. But I think the common sense of people that should say, well, hang on a second, you're still talking about, we've got warehouses full of equipment, resources, materials, and essential supplies, and we're still talking about we're going to be sending them out. This is, you know, this is exactly the same as we've seen across the world, where, you know, people like the Americans are geared up, waiting, even with supplies and equipment on the border, waiting to go in when the disaster scene clears. So I don't see that our disaster or the worldwide disaster organisations are well managed. Somehow they should be a cohesive, robust organisation that work together, and they seem to be competing. Seems to me that they're looking at, let's help the children, let's help the aged, let's help the single mums, let's help some group that they want to pick on, but actually everybody there needs to be helped.
Yeah, and there's an awful lot of people, millions, who need that help. Perhaps the most pressing need is for water, clean water. We've seen people queuing up in desperate need there. How, again, you know, they're so remote, some of these areas, with roads washed away, very little infrastructure. How do they get water to the people who need it?
Well, it's interesting, you know, in every disaster I've ever been in, the people want to do something, and it's only in the Western world where people wait back and wait for the blue lights and two-tone horns to come along to help them. In every other place in the world, the people are prepared to just roll up their sleeves and start work. Now, if they said, for example, look, there's food. At the moment, I can't see anybody's got any information. There's no communications. But I understand there's no electric, but there could be leaflet drops to tell people, get to the local airport, the runway, food will be available to workers to help clear the runway. Suddenly, we multiply up the aid response.
Jeff Charlton, fascinating to talk to you. Thank you.